advances to the Final Four.
Shout out Chillinois Basketball Podcast.
Shout out to Chillinois Podcast.
Shout out Chillinois Podcast.
Shout out Chillinois Basketball, man.
You hear that, Noah?
Sounds like it might be a train noise.
Yeah, that's the Illinois train, and it's leaving the station, and you better get on board now because we've won 10 in a row, the most ever in the Brad Underwood era, after the Illini knocked off Washington by 9 points, a final score of 75-66 in Champaign. Say what you will about this game. I know there's a lot of talk online amongst Illinois fans and different message boards and forums saying, oh, we only beat Washington by 9 points. Illinois fans are always going to complain. So what we're going to do is go through what we liked about this game instead, because we can be nitpicky all day, and we've got a bigger game to look at against Nebraska on Sunday. So fact of the matter is the Illini win by 9, like I said before. 9-1 in the Big Ten. They are now tied for first place with Nebraska and with Michigan at the end, or at the time of this recording at least. There were some players that we mentioned on Washington in our preview that I was incorrect about, so I will take the blame for that. Desmond Claude didn't play. I looked at his game log when we were doing that preview, and for some reason I thought Michigan was the last team they had played. That was incorrect. He's been out for about a week and a half. So we did do the preview with some incorrect information, and that's on me. Nonetheless, we did highlight some players on Washington that did play well and that we said would play well. Hans Steinbeck predominantly. He had 15 points and 12 rebounds. I think I said he was going to have like 20 and 15, so not too far off. But all things considered, I thought he was relatively quiet compared to what I thought we might see from him. And then just going down the box score here, Bryson Tucker scored 6. Not entirely impressive from him, who was a former All-American out of high school. Zoom Diallo and Wesley Yates were probably their best players, playing 37 and 26 minutes respectively. As we said on our preview, this is a guard-oriented basketball team, unfortunately for Hannes Steinbach, because their guards just hold the ball and chuck up threes, which they were doing a lot of in the first half. It was ugly in the first half. Oh, sorry. I thought you turned off your mic there. I thought I thought you came in.
Well, I'm ready to come in and say, first of all, don't come to Chillinois basketball to get accurate information on any team, including Illinois, but especially the opposing team. We don't know who's playing on any given day. And if Chase doesn't know, then I'm going to get it wrong too. Could I just copy everything that he says?
Hey, like I said, I'm taking blame for that one.
Desmond Claude, whatever, not a big deal. Listen, Washington, this is a problem. They had 2 Big Ten wins. Maybe they had 3 going into this game. They weren't super good. Honestly, I think they probably played their best game of the season in terms of a loss. I mean, they played Illinois down to the wire for the most part. I mean, it was back and forth, but listen, that's not on us. That's on Washington. That's on Danny Sprinkle for not winning enough games. If he won more games, we would know who's injured and who's not.
Yeah, we could tell you all about Michigan, Michigan State, Purdue, Washington. We don't look twice at them usually. So glad we got this one behind us. It was a good win. I mean, Steinbach's going to get drafted, I think. So it was like fun to watch him play. And admittedly, when Washington went up 7-0 in the first half, I was like, what are we doing here, guys? It got to the point where I was like, maybe we throw in Petrovic. He didn't come off the bench at all. I guess for the better, because the Illini ended up winning the game. I mean, the point is, the Illini were up 5, and then they'd stretch that lead to 9, 10, or 11 points, and then Washington would battle back, and it would be 5 again. When I look at this Illini team and see some of the wins they have and some games like this, where it just feels comfortable the whole time, it never really feels like the game is in any danger. That's just what good teams do, I think. If you look at that 04-05 season, there were some Big Ten games. I mean, they did blow a lot of those teams out of the water in the Big Ten Conference. But there were some Big Ten Conference games, especially down the stretch, that the Illini maybe only won by 7 or 8 points. And if you watch those games, it never really felt that close. So credit where credit's due for Washington. I think they had a good game plan, especially on Keaton Wagler, who had a very quiet 22 points. I think at the beginning of the game, they were really getting their hands in his pocket, trying to steal the ball away from him, really face guarding him and not switching on any of the screens. So it was very difficult for him to even receive a pass. He settled into the game as it went along, as did a lot of the Illini players. But I think their game plan to approach Keaton Wagler was strong enough. But that's the thing about this Illini team. If you're just game planning for one player, the Illini have four or five others that are going to bite you for any amount of points that night. And I would argue it was probably the Ben Hummerhouse game this time around. We've seen Jake Davis go off for threes, but Ben Hummerhouse had four in this one. Let me see. Yeah, he was 4 for 6 from three, 14 points, three rebounds, and a steal in 27 minutes. And I would say very stellar defense on his end as well. If Hummerhouse is going to shoot like this, and we have Jake Davis shooting like that on other given nights, like we've just got a sniper in the corners at all times, which makes this team even deeper. Um, Hummerhouse was really impressive. Did you have any thoughts on him?
I'm happy for him. I mean, he's finally had his game. We've been waiting for it all year. He's had solid games every night. And it wasn't even a standout performance on his part. I think just because the rest of the team underperformed. If Keaton had another 40-point game, we wouldn't really be mentioning Ben Hummerhouse. We'd say, oh, he did good. But I think it's because nobody else really stepped up to the plate. He was kind of the one that stood out. But either way, I mean, he hit big shots. And I called it, after he hit a couple, I'm like, he's feeling it tonight. And they kept feeding it to him and he kept making it. And listen, married Hummerhouse is a different beast. Before last year, or before this year rather, last year, he was well, he wasn't single, but unmarried, bad defense, according to Underwood. See, according to Underwood, this year he was a terrible defender, couldn't guard anybody. But last year, if you guys remember, he did say that Ben Hummerhouse was the best defender on the team. He used the term elite defender, which is something he likes to say a lot, the word elite. It's a fun drinking game you can play is watch any Brett Underwood press conference and take a shot every time he says elite. But no, it was a good game and I'm happy for Ben and it was a perfect scenario, home game, easy team, probably not going to lose. So perfect scenario for Ben to thrive and he took advantage of it.
Yeah, and speaking of Ben's defense, I know we both saw that press report or that the press conference where Brad said last year Ben's defense was so bad that Dorothy Izzo, Tom Izzo's mother, would give him 20 points on any given night. Like you said, Brad said a lot about Ben's good defense last year, so maybe he was just blowing smoke up reporters last season, and now he's telling the truth. But either way, he said Dorothy Izzo last year would give him 20 points. Earlier in the week, Tom Izzo himself said that Dorothy Izzo, his own mother, uh, would be able. I'm sorry, she said Kurtang, or he said Kurtang, one of his players, couldn't defend Dorothy Izzo. So it seems like Dorothy Izzo is kind of the litmus test for good defense in college basketball, at least in the last week. Noah, how many points are you giving Dorothy Izzo? Or I'm sorry, the inverse because you're playing defense. How many points is Dorothy Izzo giving you?
Oh man, I'm gonna be honest. I'm a much better defender than I am offensive player, so I think I'd be able to clamp her up pretty well. I mean, offensively, she might beat me. If we're talking about a game of horse and she makes the first shot, I might not even get a shot in. Defensively, though, I mean, I'm worried I might cross her up and just kill her, to be honest. I mean, she's probably old and frail,
He
and
is 99 years old, Noah.
yeah, I'm a young, powerful bull. I'm ready to go, so. I don't think she would fare well on the court with me, to be honest. I mean, maybe if she does some kind of little European, mentality, bulldog mentality, David Merkovich, punch you in the face, then she might stand a chance. But I think I'd honestly hold her to under 10.
Under 10 in a full college basketball game of 40 minutes?
I mean, any scenario, it doesn't, yeah, I mean, sure. I mean,
I mean,
one
how
on
long you
one,
play
it
under
doesn't
10?
matter.
Under 10 in a game to 11 is a lot of points for Dorothy to score. She's 99.
Okay, yeah, well, we're playing to 21 then. How about
Okay,
that?
fine. All right, fine. I'm not going to talk about this subject because I'm not very good at basketball on either end of the floor. I think the best thing I ever did in my middle school days of basketball was take a charge or something. Um,
I didn't even make the middle school basketball team, dude. I tried out in like the eighth grade and I didn't make it. And I'm like, okay, what the hell's that all about? I was very short at the time and I wasn't strong at all. And I wasn't good at basketball either, but I wanted to play. I had a
yeah,
basketball hoop in my driveway, and so I thought I was pretty good. But honestly, we should do a video where we go play basketball. That would be interesting.
we'll show people how we'll
Me
give
and
people.
you know what we got to do, honestly, this thought just popped in my head. We got to challenge Sleepers Media right now, 2-on-2 basketball game. We got to meet up. We'll drive to
Well,
Michigan, two
Carter
on two.
played in like D3 or D1 or
I
something.
know. Well, they're both basketball players, and we're pickleball players, so I think we could match up well against them and, give them a run for their money.
The height of my basketball career was making the eighth grade team, and I wore number 22 because it was Jeremy Richmond's number that year, and I thought Jeremy Richmond was like the shit. He didn't pan
Well,
out so well for the Illini, so
I made the elementary school team and I played for 2 years, fourth and fifth grade, and I made a total of 4 points. And what I really excelled at was practice. Every year we would do a layup contest to determine who picks their jersey first. In both years, I came in first place and I got to pick my jersey. And I picked number 15. That's my lucky number. Also, shout out Jake Davis. But in practice, I excelled and I just could not translate it to a game. But we were playing each other. That's the thing. We didn't play other schools. We only played each other. So you'd think it's basically practice. But no, I just, when the lights were on and the pressure was on, and we had cheerleaders, we had cheerleaders for a game where we played against each other. And every game we would just switch the players up, except we had to have the two best players on opposite teams at all times. Otherwise, it's just unfair completely. But looking back, it's not something that I was ever good at, but quite honestly, I think I smoke anybody.
all right. Well, you're giving Dorothy Izzo's not giving you any points, I guess, or 10. And I guess we've officially challenged Sleepers Media to a 2v2 basketball game. So we'll see about that one. Uh, Anything else from the Illini you liked in their game against Washington? I do want to point out Mirkovic's parents were both there in attendance for the first time ever for one of his college basketball games. That photo was pretty cool. What I also learned from that photo is both of his parents are like 6'4", which is kind of terrifying. But if they're going to be in attendance and Merck is going to drop, what did he have? Like 19 and 6?
He would have had like 25, but we just kept missing our free throws. That was terrible. Our free throw shooting just was atrocious.
Yeah, we'll talk about things that we didn't like in a second because I think it'll be a perfect segue into the Nebraska preview. But at this point, I think we just need like a celebrity row like of courtside seats. We need Jelly Roll at this point. We need Peja Stojakovic's wife. We need the Balkan block. We need David Mirkovic's parents.
We need
We
Dorothy
need your
Izzo.
Yeah, and we need your ball and we need your gnome.
Speaking of the gnome, it's right here. And
Yeah,
I
do you want
want
to tell the story about that gnome, considering our
to,
next game is
yes,
Nebraska and you made it the night of the Nebraska
I'm
loss?
gonna tell the story right now. So this gnome, if you guys remember the gnome, I mean, I made it and
Kovacic Ivasic.
I showed it on the show. This gnome was created, it was forged, it was assembled on December 13th, the night of December 13th. What else occurred on December 13th? The Nebraska game. Since that gnome has come into existence, Illinois has not lost. I remember that game because I was making the gnome and I was looking at the score on my phone thinking, oh man, we're going to lose this one. And since I've made it, we have yet to lose. So if we win against Nebraska, this gnome, like something's going to happen. We're going to do something with it. I don't know. But if we go all the way to the end of the season and we win a championship, go undefeated for the rest of the year, I'm going to take the gnome and I'm going to destroy it because it has too much power. However, it will be very cool and it will be something that, legends will be told about the gnome, Babasic, Ivasic. But if we do beat Nebraska on Sunday, we're gonna have to go to a game and bring the gnome, sneak it in. I mean, will they let me bring it in? I don't know
I'm
what the
going to the
rules.
Indiana game in like 2 weeks at State Farm Center, so I could bring it with me if you want to lose it. What is it called? The Illinome? Is that like what we're going to call it?
I mean, that's a good name. I didn't even think about that. I've been just calling him Babasic, Ivasic, but
Well, I
I
mean,
like it.
Babasic,
Illinois.
Ivasic, the Illinome.
Yeah,
Anyway, I do think there's some magic with that gnome that you've created because since you made it, which was the night of the Nebraska game, ironically enough, they haven't lost. And we'll see if it brings that magic on Sunday afternoon when the Illini take on Nebraska in Lincoln this time at 3 p.m. on Fox Sports 1. Right now, Illini 3.5 point underdogs in this matchup. I think that's pretty fair. I mean, all things considered, if you go down the list here, I think there's a lot to like on this Illini side. You're kind of playing with house money. I know it's a revenge game for you, and I know Nebraska, alternatively or inversely, has just lost their last game, so they're kind of in a revenge game, get back game, whatever you want to call it. But there's a lot of things to like on this Illini side, and I really think what it's going to come down to in terms of if they're going to win or lose this game is just correcting the mistakes they made in the previous game in Champaign, which was number one, they couldn't guard Price Sanford to save their life. Now, Kylan Boswell is not going to be in this one, so we'll see who defends him this time. And that's going to be kind of a challenge either way because you don't have your best on-ball defender. But Kylan wasn't like exceptional in that game. Price Sanford killed us in that one. So we'll see what the matchup is this time. Number two, I think the Illini need to make their free throws, which you were just speaking about in the Washington game, and that's why I kind of wanted to bring it over to this one. I'm a fan of the fact they missed so many in the last game because you know Brad's harping on them in practice now, like make your damn free throws, Kylan, make your damn free throws, Andre. So I think that issue is one we're going to have corrected in the next 2 days of practice. We'll see when the crowd is wild and red and white and full of corn in Nebraska. But I like our chances to correct the free throw shooting mistakes that we made in the last game. I'm really just looking at who's going to defend Price Sanford because, I mean, it's not like the Illinois game was kind of his coming out party, but he's been playing really well since then. He's been one of their best players. And I think Nebraska will probably have at least Braden Frager out this game. Rink Mass, we'll see if he comes back from the flu, but there were talks about him being in the emergency room after the Michigan game, and he was so dehydrated that he needed an IV. We said he needs like some stroop waffles or something because he's from the Netherlands, but they might be undermanned too. Now, initial thoughts going into this one, Noah, because this is arguably the biggest game to date, but also maybe not, just because I don't think many people are predicting the Illini to win this game, at least on the road in Lincoln, which kind of puts the ball in Nebraska's court if you think about it that way.
Well, I'll tell you this much. David Mirkovich would not be caught dead missing the game because of a flu. He already said it himself that he would kill himself if he missed and we lost. So Rank Mass is not built like Merck. They're not the same. Merck's gonna if Rank Mass sits out because of the flu and he's sitting there on the bench, Merck's gonna walk up to him. He's gonna look at him. He's gonna go, psh. He's gonna walk away. He's gonna go, "You're such a dweeb." But no, I think he's probably gonna end up playing. That was at least the announcement that I heard today. So it is what it is. I mean, I think defensively, you look at the first game, it was pretty evenly matched. I mean, it was a 3-point difference, buzzer beater win. So you like to, think, oh, well, if Kylan was here, we'd have a really good shot. I worry without him, what are they going to do? I mean, look at the Purdue game. Purdue was getting whatever they wanted for the most part, especially in that first half. Let's not pretend like Illinois held them to 50 points. I mean, they scored more than 80 points in that game. So we just got very, very lucky that Keaton Wagler had an insane performance and couldn't miss. So it's going to be a game where the offense is going to have to win it because the defense ain't going to win it. I mean, I just don't think that's going to be the case. Unless like Merck and Big T and Big Z just go crazy, I just don't think the defense is going to win this one. Somebody's going to have to go nuclear, and that somebody's going to have to be Keaton Wagler. I don't think there's anybody else on the team that's capable of going for 40 points. Maybe Andre, but unless it's an Andre game, then it ain't an Andre game. You know what I mean? Andre very rarely is like, oh, 15 points, 10 rebounds. It's always like 30 points or 3 points. So if it's an Andre night and they win it, great. I don't necessarily want that to be the case. I'd rather have it be a Keaton night. So I think he's going to be the key to success. And it's going to be similar to the Purdue game. I think you're going to have Merck and T and some of those guys step up. And between Hummerhouse and Jake Davis, whichever of those two you want to see step up. We did get to see the Twin Towers line up a little bit in the Washington game. I mean, maybe for a whole 2 minutes, and it didn't really do much. But maybe that's something you can, pull out here. You kind of just want to change things up from when you first played them because you lost. So you want to figure out how to at least play them a little bit better this time.
Yeah, and I'm just going on the box score of the last game for the Illini against Nebraska. When they did lose on that buzzer beater, as you alluded to before, there's some things that like I think just inherently have already been cleaned up. Tomislav only had 3 points on 1 for 3 shooting, and they were all 3-pointers, and he only had 5 rebounds. I think Tomislav's in a better groove than he was in that game. That was kind of when he was I don't know, people were still making the claim that he was coming back from his tonsils being removed and the
I
injuries.
don't think he played too hot last night. I'm not gonna lie. I mean,
No,
he was bricking.
yeah, it was 1 for 8. It wasn't incredible, but like I think he's had a string of good games more so than he had at the beginning of the season. So I think he's playing a little bit better than he was at the time when Illinois last faced Nebraska. Merkovich only had 4 and 2, so I would expect a much better performance from Merkovich in this game. I think him versus Buchtengel, round two, I would take David Merkovich in that matchup. Keaton had 19 and 10, so 19 and 10 assists, which is, I mean, that's just kind of what Keaton does. It wasn't a 20-point performance, it wasn't a 46-point performance, but I mean, Keaton's giving you like 25 rebounds and 8 assists a night at this point in the last 4 games, and it's just like that's Keaton. That's our point guard. That's what he does. It's I mean it's like sad that it's not impressive to I mean it's impressive to watch, but it's sad that those stats aren't getting more attention. They're not jumping off the page to anybody just because that's what he's been doing all year. So not a lot to improve for him. Um, where I worry is Kylan scored 20 in the last game against Nebraska. So we're going to have to fill that void. But I do think this team, like the bench players, even in the last game against Nebraska, Ben scored 3, Jake scored 5, Zvonimir scored 7. All of them are capable of scoring 12 points this game. So
And
I,
I don't think Nebraska is going to score 80 points again. I don't think it's going to be as high scoring as last game, honestly. I think that what Sanford did in the first half, dude, he was electric. I mean, he had like 30 points in the first half, just something like
he
insanely
had 20,
ridiculous.
24, 26, and then he had 32 in the entire game. So
Yeah, it's insane. It's not going to happen again. I mean, he could not miss a shot. So I'm walking your trap, take over your trap. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean, I like where your head's at in that. We're gonna get to game predictions in a moment here. Anything from Nebraska that kind of worries you? Jamarcus Lawrence has been playing better. That buzzer beater he had against the Illini was kind of the catalyst behind him having. I mean, he's been playing really well in the last few games. Hoiberg is kind of their do-it-all guy, like we said in the last preview. Rink Mast, if he plays, I mean, we know what to expect out of him. It'll be a tough matchup for Tomislav and Zvonimir. And the thing that Nebraska does so well is, I mean, they just force you to shoot outside shots, which against any other team besides the Illini, you'd be like, that's incredible defense. But the Illini can get hot at any time. And I'm not going to say it's going to go one way or the other, but I could see this being. I rewatched those Oregon highlights from last year when we scored like 108 points and hit 18 threes or whatever. First of all, what I did realize is Jake Davis was not wearing sleeves in that game, so I think we need to see Jake Davis sleeveless because there seemed to be some magic without the sleeves when he was showing off all arms and all shoulders and all of his greatness.
I think
Um,
the problem with that Oregon game is Oregon doesn't have a fan base. I mean, do they even have a student section? There might have been
well, no,
14 people at that whole game.
that's another thing I noticed during that game last year. They were number 9 in the nation at that point. They were 12-1. The Illini were unranked, and there were maybe 40 people in that crowd. So that was embarrassing on their end. I think Nebraska will be a lot louder, but if you hit a couple early shots from three, quiet the crowd early on. That's what Price Sanford did to the Illini in Champaign. So I don't think it'll be a one-man show this time around. I'm not predicting Keaton Wagler to have 46 points again. I just think the Illini they've been shooting the ball really well from three in their last few games, and I think they might continue that. And if a few guys get hot, I like your point earlier where I do think this will be a lower scoring game for Nebraska. I don't think Nebraska scores 80 points. But once again, the Illini have the number one offense in Ken Palm. They're averaging 130.2 points per 100 possessions, which is the highest ever offensive scoring team in college basketball since Ken Palm became a thing. Um, I could see the Illini shooting the lights out and just running Nebraska out of the gym and keeping it real quiet from the beginning of the game in this one. But I don't want to like predict that. That's just like kind of where my head is at in this one. But I mean, there's still 2 days. I'll have a lot more time to sleep on it and think about it. But just like off the bat, I don't know. And the other point that stood out to me in this one is the fact that I know I keep saying this is like house money for the Illini. Nobody's expecting them to go in there and win. They've won 10 straight, so even losing a game here wouldn't be like entirely detrimental to the rest of their season or even their Big Ten hopes because now even the top teams have 2 losses. But Nebraska faces Illinois and Purdue. And those are really their toughest games for the rest of the season against the rest of the Big Ten. They don't face any of the top five teams besides those two teams for the rest of the year, and both of them are at home. Now, Illinois faces Nebraska on Sunday. They've got Michigan State at Michigan State, and then Michigan at home to close out the season. Michigan just played Michigan State and won tonight. They play Illinois at Illinois. They play Purdue at Purdue, and then they play Michigan State at home. And then Michigan State lost to Michigan tonight, but they play Illinois at home, Purdue at Purdue, and then Michigan at Michigan. So these top teams in the Big Ten have tough schedules to kind of end their Big Ten seasons besides Nebraska. And something about Nebraska winning the Big Ten regular season championship just doesn't sit right with me. And I just, until it happens, I mean, it's like kind of one of those Indiana wins the national championship in football kind of things. Until you see it, it's just hard for me to believe it. But I really don't think Nebraska is the top team in the Big Ten this year. Um,
I think whoever wins this game is going to win the Big Ten. I think
you
that's
think
what's going to
so?
happen. I think, and if Illinois wins this game, it's going to come down to the Illinois-Michigan game, and the winner of that game is going to win the Big Ten. I do think the Breslin Center game for Illinois is going to be really, really hard. I think that could even be harder than this game, but I think it's very possible that either Illinois or Nebraska win the Big Ten championship. And I think I think when you look at the two best teams, I mean, Michigan barely beat them with two of their two, I mean, I don't know if they're their two best. I know Rank Mass is probably their best player, and then however good the other guy is, but both injured. I mean, the fact that they were able to hold on and barely lose that game. I mean, I think that you could easily make the argument that Illinois and Nebraska are the two best teams in the Big Ten, but it's going to be really what makes me nervous is the fact that Nebraska is coming off a loss. You look at this team like, oh, what, they were undefeated, like best team in the Big Ten. What are the odds they're going to lose two in a row? But that was the same mentality that we had with Purdue going into the Purdue game, and we still won.
And Purdue's
And this
lost three in a row now. So
right, and this could very well be the collapse that people have been waiting for Hoiberg and Nebraska. Everyone's been waiting like, oh, I don't think they're real. I don't think they're legit. And if that's the case, maybe that first loss is that's the Jenga block that topples the tower, and now you're going to see them lose to Illinois and whoever else they have to play, Purdue. Um, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be one of those games where you pretty much need an A-plus performance from Illinois if you want to win this one, because you know the crowd's going to be insane. I mean, not that, Mackey was insane too, but you're just going to have to, block out the noise. You're going to have to forget about that first loss. Hopefully that doesn't, get in their heads at all. I do think this Illinois team's better than when they first played Nebraska. And if Nebraska's got injuries, then you could argue Nebraska's worse than when they played Illinois earlier in the season. So I think everything is lining up for this to be a great game. And although Illinois is due for a loss and they're playing with house money, like this is a must-win game if they want to win the Big Ten, which is their goal. I mean, yeah, this is my worry is Illinois loses this, then they lose sight of the Big Ten championship race, and then they lose at Breslin, and then whatever, that's what I don't want to have happen. Because I truly think if Illinois wins this game, they could go undefeated for the rest of the Big Ten Conference, and that would be absolutely insane. One loss, you'd be a one seed for sure. So it's going to be, this could be the game that defines both teams' season.
yeah, and this team certainly exceeded expectations, I would say, in the month of January. They were 8-0 in the month of January. And I know when we had Sahil on the podcast, we were talking about rest of the season, like maybe where we saw this team and their tournament line and their tournament seating. And I think both of us and even Sahil said 4 or 5. Um, and now most projections, Joe Lenardi, all the big guys, they're confidently projecting a line at least of 3, which I think is pretty capable. They're pretty
Most
capable.
everything I'm seeing right now has them at a 2 seed.
Yeah, 2 currently. I think if we drop the Nebraska game, it'll go down. But even then, like that's still only 2 losses. You're 4 losses on the season. I would argue we're getting ahead of ourselves here, but I would argue we either split or win both Michigan State and Michigan. I mean, I would say we split. I don't think we're going to win both of those games, but regardless, we'll talk about those in the future because they're down the line in a few weeks. But I like where this team's at. I do agree. I think they're much better than the last time they played Nebraska. But I mean, I even said I think this team has the opportunity, and it's a very high possibility that the Illini walk into Nebraska and blow them out by quite a few points in a way we haven't seen anybody do to Nebraska this year. Just because Nebraska is so good at like containing on the inside, and Illinois can get hot from three. I mean, we're gonna see how it goes down, but I'm not too worried about this game like I am in other big games. I honestly had no belief that we would beat Purdue. And even until maybe like 2 minutes left in that game, I was like, we're not winning this one. But this team has shown me a couple of times this year we can win the games that even I'm least expecting them to win. So I feel a little bit different about this one, just as a gut feeling, a hunch I'm having. But in
I'm gonna
terms
have to
of
watch the game because I all the three losses we have, I have not watched any of those games, and pretty much every game I've watched, we've done really well. And I watched the Purdue game from start to finish, and I rarely watch Illinois games from start to finish. I just I can't even watch them half the time. I get too antsy, especially if it's super close. But I watched that one start to finish because I seriously went into it thinking like we're just gonna lose, like it's not that big of a deal if we do lose, and then we won. So I'm convinced, dude, between me and the gnome and the hat and everything, it's just like insane right now. I mean, we're rolling. The train's left the station. So I'm lit.
the Illinois was definitely the obvious MVP pick for our game on Sunday, but I'm gonna go. I don't think I've picked him yet to be my MVP this year. I'm gonna go with Tomislav. I just think he performed so poorly in the first game, and I think he's had a few games besides Washington where he's hit some big shots at the end. Um, he's been doing stronger in the rebounding category. He's been performing well on that end. So I think, especially if Rink Mast is out, this is a game where Tomislav can take advantage of Nebraska on the inside. I know Nebraska. Let me see their roster because I don't want to get his name wrong. When Rinkmast was out, they did have, I think it was Cale Jacobson as their like backup big. No, Cale Jacobson's 6'4". That doesn't make any sense. Um, Let me check their last game against Michigan. They had some big men that filled in for him that did pretty formidably. I'm not gonna lie. Uh, but nonetheless, I think Tomislav has a good opportunity in this game to take advantage. If Rinkmast is in, that might change things, but I'm still looking for him to be the MVP. He spreads the floor, obviously. Let me see who that guy was. It was, I mean, it might have been Jacobson actually, even though he's only 6'4". Oh no, I'm sorry, it was Leo Curtis. He only played a few minutes, but he did a pretty strong job against Ade Mara on Michigan. Um, he played 13, had 6 and 1. So if Rinkmass is out, Leo Curtis is the guy. He's from Iceland actually, Reykjavik. So there's a little
So
European.
everybody's talking about Brad Underwood, Balkan, oh, give it up with the European. Dude, Hoiberg's got just as many Europeans and nobody talks about him. They act like, oh, those are them corn-fed boys from Nebraska. Hell no, they're all from the Icelands and the Netherlands and Turkey.
And believe it or not, they've got another guy on their team. He plays very sparingly. He's only played in one game this year. Uh, Ugnius, 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 I think is how it's pronounced. Yarosevicius. Yarosevicius? He's
There's
from
no
Lithuania.
way it's pronounced Ugnius. It's got to be like Eunice or something like that.
Okay, maybe Yunis Yarosevicius? He's from Lithuania. The only reason I'm pronouncing Vicious is because Kasparis, Yakachonis.
Yeah, which he's starting now for Miami, I saw. They must be
Yeah,
injured pretty bad if he's starting.
he's been playing well, but they are pretty beat up right now. Um, Anyways, do you have a MVP pick for this game? I said Thomas Love.
I'm thinking Merck. I think he's gonna know whether rank plays or not. Which, by the way, insane name, rank.
Rink.
When I think of rank, I think of like stinky.
No, it's like rink,
Um,
like ice rink.
oh, is it rink?
Yeah, I mean it's spelled Reink, but it's rink mast, not
Yeah, I
rink.
don't know. When I hear his name, I think of like a stinky poop. But either way, David Mirkovich, whether uh rank plays or not, he's going to take advantage. He's going to take advantage of the sickness. He's going to go, oh, you're playing with me against a cold? You got a flu? I'm going to take advantage of that. He's going to back him down. He's going to do what he needs to do. Merck's healthy now. Merck was sick, but now he's not. That's the thing. We've gotten over the sickness, I think. We were sick. We were beat up pretty bad, but now we're healthy again. Hopefully. So I'm predicting a Merck MVP performance. I'm gonna say stat line 24 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists. Um, I'm just gonna give my final score prediction as well. Might as well. Um, Gotta go with Illinois, obviously. I mean, do I think it, realistically, I think it's a probably 60-40 chance that Nebraska wins this one, but I gotta go with my boys. So I'm gonna pick Illinois in a lower scoring game than the first one, but still pretty high scoring. I'm gonna say Illinois 81, Nebraska 74. And it really, Nebraska makes a, three at the end to cut it close, but really, Illinois runs away with it at the end there. Similar to the Purdue game, kind of.
All right. Um, I mean, we've won 10 in a row, and I've made quite a few predictions for wins, so I guess I'm not like entirely a jinx. I'm gonna go with my gut here and give you what I think is gonna happen. If I change my mind in the morning, I'll comment on the video. I'll take my personal account and comment, this is Chase, and be like, hey, I'm changing my score prediction. But at the time right now, I'm just envisioning this. I think the Illini win 91 to 69.
Damn.
I'm seeing like this team has gotten really hot from three the last few games. Not like so much so where it's like they can't miss, but they've been shooting the three ball pretty well. I think they shot 37% against Washington, and then against Purdue they shot way better than that. I think it was like 43 or something. Let me just fact check that so nobody doubts my credibility.
Original bug. He's already in the comment section.
Yeah, he's checking me on this. So let's see. Against Washington, the Illini shot. I think it was 37% off the top of my head, but we're gonna
From the
find
three,
out.
you're saying? Well,
Yeah,
I'll
from
tell you what,
three.
we got to get off to a hot
Okay.
start.
33%. So not as great as I thought it was, but Purdue, I know it was a lot better. It was in the 40% range at least. It had to be because we were shooting so many of them. Um, yeah, we shot 47% from three against Purdue. So the last few games, they've been shooting it better from three compared to the rest of the season. Um, I'm starting to believe in this Tyler Underwood offense. It's just like chuck threes and get the offensive rebounds because the amount of times that they do take a shot, and it's usually open too. The amount of times they take a three pretty early on in the shot clock that's open because of good offense, they'll miss and then they'll get their offensive rebound, and it's pretty much just an automatic open three-pointer again. Uh, they do that pretty often. So I'm starting to see the vision. Last year it was tough to see because they take so many of them and miss and they wouldn't necessarily get the offensive rebounds. So people would groan about it and be like, we're taking too many threes. This year it's starting to come together. I think this is a game where the Illini walk into your trap and take over your trap, and they beat the shit out of Nebraska. I hope it happens as an Illini fan, but I'm just kind of seeing that right now, just based on matchups. We'll see who plays and who doesn't, but 91 to 69 is currently my projection for this game. And I'd love to
I
see Connor Essegian's TikTok after the game if we
Oh
beat the 91.
God, don't get me started on that. He posts way too much. Like, bro, get off social media, focus on your team, focus on winning.
Focus
But
on your rehab.
yeah, I will say, number one, we're gonna have to get off to a hot start because on the road in Lincoln, down at halftime is not a good place to be. You want to get some momentum in the first half, so that's number one. But I mean, in order to win this game, like you're saying, it's going to come down to the 3-point shooting. It's going to come down to can the bigs stretch the floor, can they actually make the shots. But what makes me nervous is the fact that Nebraska is going to have like a week to prepare, and Illinois is going to have like 2 days. So I don't like that at all. Especially, I thought we played pretty poorly in the last game against Washington, and I want them to work on all that stuff. And this is the first season where I really have agreed with Brad where the games that we have the breaks in between and can practice a bunch, we've actually been really, really good. So I do worry that, we're not going to have enough time to practice and really work on the things that we did poorly in the Washington game. And meanwhile, Nebraska has a whole week to study how to defend this team without Kylan Boswell being on the floor, how to take advantage offensively without Kylan Boswell being on the floor. So, and Hoiberg's a good coach, so it's gonna be a good game, to say the least.
I'm usually worried about that with like quick layovers and quick games back to back or consecutively, but I think that actually will benefit the Illini shooting here. Like I think they're going to continue to stay hot. And like I said, I am envisioning right now, maybe it's just a moment I'm having, but I think if we're going to have a 3-point shootout with Nebraska, I think this time around, I think the Illini get the better of this 3-point shootout because I'm not sure Price Sanford is going to be as unconscious as he was the last game. And I just think the Illini have more shooters than Nebraska has as a whole. So we'll see. I'm really hoping it isn't a close game from the start and we just beat the crap out of Nebraska. That would be cool. It would be pretty reminiscent of years past when Nebraska wasn't as good. But real quickly, Noah, I just want to one more thing here.
There it goes.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's the sound of the Illinois train station. If you didn't catch that, that's the Illinois train leaving the station, and we're
We
rolling.
already left the station in the beginning of the episode. Now we're pulling it back into the station,
No, no, we've
or
left the
maybe
station.
we're
We're
at the
making a
next
stop for this episode, and we're taking off again, and
we're
we're
at the
going
next
into
station.
Lincoln. Yeah, I mean, it's like platform 9 3/4. We got to pick up all the muggles. And anyways, we're on our way to Lincoln on Sunday. That game's at 3 p.m. Central Time on Fox Sports 1. I think we were on Fox Sports 1 last game, and we won.
Well, and I want to say this podcast sounds eerily similar to the first Nebraska preview. I'm pretty sure we're like, yeah, we're gonna win this one, and then we ended up losing. So, you know, we definitely don't want to act like we're disrespecting Nebraska, but we got to pick Illinois in every game. I mean, that it is
No,
what it is.
yeah. I mean, Nebraska, don't get me wrong. They've been a tremendous team, one of the best stories in college basketball this year. Until they lost, they were like on a 26 win game streak or something. Um, but yeah, one of the best stories in college basketball this year. As a Chicago Bulls fan, I guess I respect Fred Hoiberg and what he's done in college basketball and his former teams at Iowa State. Um, I think the Illini are going to shoot the lights out in this one. And like I said, if I change my mind in the morning because I'm going to sleep on this, I will comment when the video comes out and be like, never mind, guys, I changed my opinion. The Illini are getting killed in this one. I will make it public, but I have a good feeling about this one, and we will see on Sunday afternoon. What's gonna suck is I have to go to work at 5, like 5:30. So if they lose, I'm just gonna be like terribly pissed off at work the whole time. And if they win, maybe I'll just call off and I'm kidding. I won't call off. I don't think my boss watches these, but I'm not calling off Sunday. I'll be there at work on Sunday.
And if you do call off, you'll know exactly why. Illini, Illini
Yeah.
win.
A big Illini win, hopefully. Regardless, we will have a recap for this one probably Monday morning, Monday afternoon. We will see. And I will be in Champaign for the Illinois Indiana game on the 15th of February. So we'll have another in-person. I don't know. Maybe I'll do something for that. I didn't get a whole lot besides like shout outs the last time I was at an Illini
If you
game.
can get more shout outs, that would be great as well. I
I was
mean,
thinking I need Keaton at this point. I need Keaton to say it.
Keaton, yeah, we need Tommy and Z to still say it, and
Oh, a twin
Jake,
deal would be cool.
Jake and Ben as well, and
Yeah,
Brad, of course.
yeah, of course. Well, we will see if our predictions ring true or come true on Sunday. That's all we can hope for as Illini fans. But thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Chillinois Basketball Podcast. We'll have more content for you guys after this Nebraska game. Excuse me, after this Nebraska game on Sunday. ILL Noah.
I and I.